Live. Am I live? I want to talk about. I ran across a video with two attorneys talking about the Nolan Wells case, and they talked about the missteps by Ben Crump in reference to producing the um, preliminary autopsy results of the second autopsy. So listen to this and we'll talk about it. And then I'll link the video down in the description box. Okay? Okay, my cat won't let me be great. He's going to take Puppy's place. Okay.
Can you explain to us, was it beneficial for Ben Crump to come out and talk about it publicly before the primary came out?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't think it was then. I don't think it was after. I think that was a miscalculation on Ben Crump's part. I think he got a little ahead of himself and was a little too overzealous. And he spun it very well. You know, he's a master of his craft and he knows his audience. But I listened to his interviews and his Q&As, and as an attorney, I interpret what he said much differently and not as flattering or as favorable to those who may want it to be. I think that was a big misstep because if nothing else, Ben Crump's independent medical exam now gave an out to the state's medical examiner, because if the state medical examiner comes, if that autopsy is ever published and it says inconclusive, undetermined, something to that effect, and anyone questions it, all they can say is, well, look at Ben Crump's examiner. He has one of the best doctors in the country perform their own independent medical exam. They hired him. You would think that Ben Crump's team would want to find answers that are consistent with their beliefs, and they couldn't either. If they couldn't, why would we? They've corroborated our findings for us. I think that was huge. The fact that Ben Crump's team didn't have the esophagus, the throat, I think that is minimal. You know, what people are glaring over is that the IME said no visible contusions to the skin, no broken bones. The only thing that was noticeable was this redness on the back of the head. That could be explained any which way, and it wasn't explained at all. Their own doctor said, we cannot determine the cause of death. That means they could not rule anything out. Why would you put that in the public eye?
That was deep if you think about it, because I was saying, well, he did mention the contusion or the red spot on the back of the head, and that the throat was missing. And I'm not, I haven't tried a criminal case to that degree, a high profile criminal case, or a case that involved, well, I did sit and assist, which I should never have, a murder case involving my cousin. Uh, that's another story. I did a video on that. But I think there's a lot of missteps and a lot of things the public is losing, and I'm just talking about black folks. We're losing a little bit of I don't want to say we're not as supportive. Maybe two things I saw, and it's the over coddling of Nolan's mom. There are millions, sadly, of moms, and some Ben Crump represented or brought public attention to their cases. But this over coddling, the holding of hands of a mom who has a husband that's there, a husband who doesn't speak much, a husband, and just be honest. Don't hold anything. Being a father or stepfather, if you're in a child's life, that is your child. When you marry the mother and you become a blended family, that's your child. And if you raise that child from, a small child to adulthood, that's your child. It may not be your biological child, but there's no reason to bolster uh, by remaining silent, because people want to know, why is his name Wells and your name is so and so. People want to know, is it pivotal? It shouldn't have any bearing on the case, but what it does is the secrecy. The not coming out means saying, I'm Asian. I'm an Asian mom, and no, I'll be a black mom just to get what I want. And it comes off a little narcissistic. Yeah, I'll come to the black community now because I need them. I need help. I know that I'm mad at these people. I was raised with these people. I knew these people, and they're treating me like I'm a black woman. And then when she starts saying phenotypes and this and that, my heart goes out to this mother. It does. I don't care if she is narcissistic. I want justice for that young man because he should be here. That young man did not die of natural causes. And my problem is that no one wants to take responsibility. They are wealthy, affluent people, and they're used to getting away with things in life. And I just don't understand the hand holding. I don't understand. Maybe I didn't pay attention. I just didn't see that with Trayvon Martin's mom. I didn't see that with Tamir Rice's mom. God knows they totally ignored me with India Kager and Dan Roy Henry Jr. cases. But of course, out of fairness, Dan Roy Henry Jr. parents did not want Sharpton involved with their case, and so nobody wanted to be involved with their case. It barely got, if any, traction. But that young man's not here because of some stupid cop. Hello. So, and then, the mom has to show her legs, during the interview. So, and the father is just too silent for me. He's too silent for me. And we want to know, why is he so silent? Why isn't more focused? Why y'all not coddling him? Why I don't see y'all putting your hands on his shoulders and just saying, "Bro, we here." You know what I'm saying? I just, the optics. And some people are just so narcissistic. They feel like, and I know you say, Tony Monty using that word, narcissistic, because because some people are, they're just so arrogant. They feel like they can do whatever they want. They're not listening. I put these videos out here because hopefully they'll come across my colleague and say, look, this is how you're coming off to the media. I don't have, if I had his, I wouldn't even talk to him, tell you the truth. But um you're coming off. It's a turn off. A GoFundMe. You still got to GoFundMe. You got, so you guys not not as affluent as you uh, appear to be. It's a lot. It's deep, but I do want justice. I want people. If I want, giving boats to minors. I don't know. Are minors? I don't know how that works. Do you need a license to boat? I stay off boats. I'm not keen on boats. Never have. Never will. Um, Alcohol. You can't have. If did you know that the kids were drinking? This is may purely be a civil case. A civil case. And if I was there, the owner of the boat, the owner of the home, I would just take responsibility in a civil matter and settle, write them a check, and be done with this. It's the cover up. It's the behavior afterwards. It's the behavior afterwards. And when she's talking about what happened, during that period of time, she said, she and her sister were just cooking Asian meal, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And her sister said to her, hey, Nolan hasn't um, text us. And they text, she kept saying eight, 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 eight. And then she said, I text him. She said that a couple of times. And then she says, then around 10:45, 58 or something, I text again. So Nolan's phone probably was ringing. And then all of a sudden, his friend of me calls and says, hey, have you seen Nolan? So here it goes. They done cocked up from 5 to 11. They done got this story together. Okay. They got this story together. Hey, did you see Nolan? Is Nolan there or whatever? And she says, no. Oh, because he was on the island with some girl he just met. And he said he was going to stay behind. So that sent all kinds of alarms right there. And he says, well, I'll call my friend at and you call your friend at. And then she said that she started getting a runaround. Now, I don't blame her for calling Ben Crump. Okay, I don't blame her for making this a racial issue. But she got to understand that emotionally, the to us, what we have gone through, what our ancestors has gone through, the things we go through today, that's gonna rile us up. That's gonna get us going. And then, so I understand why she made the move. I understand. But then you tell, okay, I told you this, but look, let me close. Don't riot, don't do this, don't do that. The lecture. The lecture. Let's be peaceful because Nolan was very peaceful. Then that turned some black folks off. Then it's this GoFundMe that starts out with 12,000. Now we up to 900. Okay. Then it's all the check writing going on. But meanwhile, moms in the hood every day need Ben Crump's attention. Okay. There's people in the hood that needs his attention. Once again, it's the practice in the light skin privilege because uh, uh, Trayvon Martin's mom was dark skinned. Um, Tamir's Rice mom is my complexion. We're darker. You know, I'm just saying the optics. The optics. It's the optics. And then the mom appears to be relishing in the attention she's now getting. That's going to turn people off. But I'm still, even though I have these feelings, and even though we have these feelings, I'm keeping the eye on the prize. The prize is to get justice to find out what happened to this young man. But yes, and like I said, you can see my previous. I was like, Ben, keep mommy out the spotlight as much as possible, but that's not gonna happen because she the spotlight, the attention that she wanted. That's why content creators are. I don't consider myself a content creator. This is just a little hobby. I feel like I'm doing God's will at this point. Like, I'm like people really don't understand how to love. And I'm just sharing my journey of self discovery, of becoming a more peaceful person, learning to mind my business and wait until God gives me an assignment instead of me going out looking for my assignment. Because I'm like that. If I'm going through something, like I'm going through a health crisis right now, I'm going through something, I go look for legal projects, people to help out legally, or I'll go find somebody to assist them with getting some money in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? And now I need to just make me my priority because I have three major cases that I can file this year to help. That's going to help a lot of people. And in terms of cyberbullying, in terms of mortgages, a lot of things, people, a lot of things. People effed up and now, and I keep binders. I keep binders on people and not people, but companies. And some of them I have to correct because they're taking advantage of elderly people. Now that I'm a baby elder, I'm new to being old. I now I can appreciate and I see people getting taken advantage of every day, and I gotta stop it. And I have the power and the skill to stop it. So I have to focus more on that. But I really hope the truth come out and it's sad. And I never thought about that because, like I said, I'm more of a paper push attorney now. But this criminal lawyer, I'm going to link the video. He's right. He's right. He did give the medical examiner an out. He gave him an alley. Ooh, sometimes the Bible even tells never to not let your left hand know what your right hand's doing or your right hand, something like that. Sometimes you got to move in silence. Look at all these years I moved in silence. Because I don't look for validation in people. Never have. I'm not that type of person. I truly live by Billie Holiday's. The kitty's all in my face. Billie Holiday. God bless the child that has his own. You know what I'm saying? I don't need, and I gotta understand that everybody's not like me. There are people that just need all the attention. There are people that they're just so. But look, we're gonna do a book. If you want to, I'm gonna talk about this book. It's called The Law of Human Nature. Oh my God, they have the audio book here. I'll link that too on my community wall. Excellent, excellent book. That's what I'm studying right now. Just to understand us as human on not a scientifical, more of a philosophical level. Um, so understanding human nature, how we move, what's healthy, what is a healthy thought, because the Bible tells us to those things which are lovely, just, of a good report. And that's Paul. That was Paul, was a letter. I believe it was in either Galatians or Philippians. I forgot. But it was telling us, those things are lovely. Think on those things. We think about murder, killing. We always focusing on the evil side of life. There are very few videos, and those channels do not get the same attention or traction as as the sinful channels. The fighting, the bickering, the cursing, the gossiping. It just it just does. It's too many low vibrational channels. But that's how God wants it. He want people that move and use their free will. He don't want robots. He don't want people to just just do things because for fear. He wants you to do things because you love him. Fear is the first thing. It's the beginning of wisdom. But you don't stop just at the fear of God. Once you mature, it's the love of God that compels you. It's your love for him. Because when you love somebody, you never want to hurt them. I'm done.